Oh, hey guys, it's me again. I figured since I am a bit better this week from my cold that I would go ahead and do a couple of the videos that I intended to do last week and just never really got a chance to. I'm actually in the process of rendering the first draft of a information update video that will be up later today, and I figured I would go ahead and do. This is a Steven Universe Ask Meme. I've never done one of these before, so I'm kind of a little anxious about it, but I did um, get the idea to do this from another YouTuber named Share Nick. You should go check her out. I will leave a link in the description down below. And she got it from Tumblr. I will include a link to the Tumblr in question as well as to the specific post down below. And just in case you would like to complete this Ask Meme for yourselves, I will include a transcript of the entire questionnaire in the description as well. You could just copy and paste it into a comment and add your own answers to the end of each question. But I'm sure you already knew that because I'm like one of the 5 people still on Earth who doesn't understand how these things work exactly. But anyway, here we go. Each one is based on an episode of Steven Universe, something that happened in that episode. So we're going to start with Gem Glow. Have you ever bought something for a friend just because it was something that he or she would like? Not specifically, not like outside of like birthdays or something. And even then I don't buy a lot for people because I'm always really nervous about whether or not they're going to like it. But I do have a friend who has a very similar taste in books to me. So when I go out and buy a book on release, whether or not I actually do that, whether or not I actually buy it on release and don't, wait to get it on Audible or Kindle or something, depends on whether or not I think he'd also like it, because once I'm done with it, I'll just give it to him. Cheeseburger Backpack. Have you ever lost something you were responsible for hundreds of times? I am the most forgetful person since Opal. Cat Fingers. If you could shapeshift into anything, what would you turn into? If I can only pick one thing, I would pick a wolf. I love wolves. If I can pick something more general than that, I would just like the ability to turn it into animals and experience the world through animals, which is why the Animorphs are my favorite book series of all time, and I do plan on talking about them on this channel at some point. So if you're also a fan of Animorphs, let me know and give me some incentive to actually do that. Bubble Buddies. If you had to spend an entire day with only one person, who would it be? That's a really tough question. I don't like to spend entire days with people. I'm pretty introverted. There's a couple of options though. My mom's pretty cool. I like to spend time with her. My sister is pretty cool. I have a cousin who's pretty cool, and then I have a couple of best friends that I wouldn't mind spending a day with either. But I'm not going to give any specific names because I don't know if they would actually want me to. But that's my answer. Arcade Mania. What's your favorite video game and why? Skyrim is my favorite video game right now because it revitalized the video game RPG genre for me and got me into Elder Scrolls, which has become my favorite fantasy world. Before that, it was, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't think I really had a favorite video game before that. I just enjoyed playing video games in general. It's an interesting question though, because I've never really thought about what my favorite video game is, if that makes any sense. When I want to play a video game, I just kind of play whatever I'm in the mood for. Lars and the Cool Kids. A good Lars episode, by the way. Have you ever done something you weren't comfortable with just to become a part of a group? Yes, I used to do that a lot. It's not really his fault, but my dad used to put a lot of pressure on me to act more like he did. And he would make jokes about people and stuff, and I would do the same thing because I wanted him to like me. Because not that he was like a super judgmental parent, but he definitely had his own these really specific views of how people should act and stuff. There was also a group of people in my middle school who I tried really hard to be a part of their group, and they picked up on it immediately and were really cool and made sure I knew that I could be myself around them, which is why I still consider them probably the best friends I ever had. I've completely lost touch with all of them at this point, and have new best friends now, which is perfectly cool. Rose's room. What would your ideal bedroom look like? Pretty much like what my bedroom looks like. I will try to remember to include a brief clip of what my room looks like right now at this point in the video. Just in case I don't, though, I'll describe it. I have a bunch of my artwork on the walls, some of my collectibles, posters of things that I like, pictures, just random stuff that I enjoy, and it has to look lived in. There's piles of stuff everywhere, and it's disorganized because for a space to be comfortable to me, it has to feel like I really have been living in it, if that makes any sense. Mirror gem. Do you sometimes talk to yourself in the mirror? Yes, all the time. I talk to myself not in the mirror as well. I just talk to myself kind of in general. It's part of being an introvert is the thing. Space race. Would traveling through space be something you'd like to do? Yeah, technically speaking, but only if I could come back afterwards. Like if we somehow discovered faster than light travel and I could go see the planets in the solar system and then be back relatively soon, you know. I don't want to go out there not knowing already that there's something of interest and not ever being able to change my mind, I guess. Island adventure. If you could take 5 things with you to an uninhabited island, what would those 5 things be? I'm not even going to answer this one because I have no idea. I would want to take books, but then I could take like a solar powered generator and a computer and have like a bazillion books stored on the computer, so that doesn't really count. Something to write with, I think, but that would eventually die. Some of my swords, maybe. I don't know, that's a really hard one. If anybody actually manages to answer that definitively in the comments, you guys get a virtual cookie, because that's a hard one. Watermelon Steven. I remember this one's worded a little weird. Have you ever done something that you didn't want to do to make things better than they were previously? Is what I'm going to say. It's not exactly what it says. Yeah. Again, it's part of being kind of introverted. When I'm like out with people and they want to do something and I don't, I will typically, my first instinct, I've been trying not to do it as often anymore. My first instinct is to kind of just go along with whatever they want to do so that there's no conflict. And then I can just, daydream or get on my smartphone or something and pretend I'm not there, which is probably really unhealthy, which is why I'm trying to stop doing it. Warp Tour. Have you ever seen something and told this to others, but no one was willing to believe you? Constantly. Whether it's like an actual physical object or it's like a metaphorical thing, like I see a detail in something and try to tell someone so that they don't, have something bad happen to them. I would joke with my family that I'm the Cassandra of the family. If you understand mythology, Cassandra was a character. Was a character who in mythology who was like always right, but was cursed to have no one ever believe her. To vastly oversimplify the story. And sometimes that's legitimately what I feel like. Like, literally, I will say to someone, hey, you shouldn't do this because such and such, or you should do this because such and such. And then they will hear the exact same thing from somebody later. And then they'll come back to me and be like, hey, I heard from so-and-so that I shouldn't do such and such because of such and such. And I'm like, that's exactly what I told you already. Listen to me in the future. It's a hot button thing for me. Let's see. Horror Club. Not a good Lars episode. Would you ever go somewhere just because your friends are going? Yeah. If it's like my really good friends, it's like this kind of relates back to Watermelon Steven's answer. But if it's my really good friends, usually I will, just because I enjoy being with them regardless of what we're doing. So yeah, definitely. Shirt Club. Have people ever used something you made in a way that you didn't want it to be used? Thankfully, no. I used to do a lot of art when I was a kid, and I was really careful to like control my artwork if it was something that I wanted controlled. And for a really long freaking time, any of my artistic stuff that I did, I just never showed to anyone because I was embarrassed by it. And I think the closest it's ever come to something like that happening to me is my mom insists on using this self-portrait that I made in like 6th grade as a wall decoration, and it's pretty terrible. The eyes are like really big and stuff, and annoys the crap out of me that she uses it, but it's fine. She loves it. Whatever. Say, Uncle, do you like playing pranks on others? Yes, to a point. If it's someone who I know very well and who knows me very well and knows that I don't actually mean to be mean to them. And even then, I never do mean pranks. I never like dump oatmeal on somebody or something, you know? Reformed. Do people sometimes compare you to someone else? Sometimes. Like when I was young, academically, my parents would compare me to my sister. And, ooh, weird story. Like on 3 different occasions, not recently, but several years ago, on 3 different occasions, spaced out over months, I actually had people come up to me and think I was some guy named Adam. And I don't know any Adams, personally. Well, I know one Adam, but not like well, and he looks nothing like me. But they legitimately thought I was this other person. And when I told them I wasn't, like one of them even tried to convince me that I must be mistaken. It was kind of weird, which probably doesn't actually answer the question, but hey, yeah, whatever. Um, we need to talk. Tell us one of your nicest memories. Um, wow, that's a really tough one. I'm going to take a second to think about that, and then I'm going to cut it out of the final video. This is going to sound kind of weird, but one of my nicest memories is when I was a kid, like really young, like, I don't know, 10 or something. I would occasionally stay at my grandparents' house and have like a little carpet camping trip out on their living room floor, and would watch television. And I remember one night, I don't even know what the show was that came on, but I just remember watching it and being blown away by how interesting it was, and just kind of stayed up all night watching it. And um, I like got really tired, and I was like falling asleep, but I was still kind of hearing the TV in the background, and I don't know why, but for whatever reason, whenever I think of that memory, I get really nostalgic. Cry for help. Have you ever done something you regret in an attempt to get closer to someone? Um, yeah, technically speaking, I guess every time I try to meet someone, I act like a complete fool in front of them because I will, you know, try to talk to them and then will completely freeze up because I can't talk to people. And so I guess in a way, I regret every single one of those attempts ever. But at the same time, you have to keep trying to get more comfortable with yourself. So I guess, yeah, there are things I've done that I regret, but at the same time, I don't really regret them. Onion Friend, do you express yourself in any artistic ways? All the time. I write a lot. I do videos on here. Um, I draw pretty consistently. I used to draw a lot younger, I used to draw a lot more when I was younger. Um, if you guys are interested in looking at my writing, I don't know why you would be, but if you are, I will leave a link to my writing blog in the description down below. You can go check it out. It's not really fan fiction as you would typically think of fan fiction. It's more original flavor stories with original characters set in existing fictional worlds. But yeah, you're welcome to check that out. That's mostly what I do for artistic expression anymore. But see if I can find this. I did this recently. It's a Peridot Pearl Fusion. It's on my Tumblr. I'll leave a link to that in the description down below as well. And now I'm incredibly embarrassed, so I'm just going to stop. There were some pretty personal questions on here, but none of them were like super personal. I just made them more personal than they needed to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, anyone who watches this and wants to, they can ask me anything they want in the comments down below, and I will either answer it in the comment, or if I think it is a really freaking good question, I will add it to a list of about 10 questions, and I will answer them in a separate video, assuming that I actually get enough unique questions. If you don't want to ask a question, but you see that someone has asked a question that you really want me to see, you can give it a thumbs up. But that's about it for this video, guys. Until next time, which should be later today with my new information update video, I will talk to you guys later.